What if one man could liberate an entire city alone? Not with an army, not with tanks, not with overwhelming firepower, but with nothing more than courage, instinct, and a complete disregard for fear. It sounds impossible, like something taken from a movie or a legend passed down and exaggerated over time. But this story's real, and the man behind it was Leo Major, a soldier who refused to follow the rules, a soldier who turned chaos into strategy, a soldier who, in a single night, changed the fate of an entire city. And this is how it happened. Leo Major was born in Montreal, Canada, in 1921. He grew up in a world far removed from the battlefields he would later walk through. But even as a child, there was something different about him. He didn't like authority. He didn't like being controlled. And he certainly didn't like being told what he could or could not do. He was stubborn, independent, driven by his own sense of right and wrong. And when World War II began, Leo didn't hesitate. He enlisted, not for medals, not for recognition, but because he believed in fighting. Because he believed in freedom. When Leo Major arrived in Europe, he quickly proved that he was not like other soldiers. Most soldiers followed orders carefully. They moved in formation. They relied on their units. Leo did none of that. He moved differently. He thought differently. He acted alone. During one of his early missions in Normandy, Leo encountered something most soldiers would avoid at all costs: a German armored vehicle. For most men, this would be a death sentence. Heavy armor, mounted weapons, superior firepower. But Leo Major didn't see a threat. He saw an opportunity. Instead of retreating, he moved forward. Alone, with nothing but grenades, determination, and a willingness to take risks no one else would take. He approached the vehicle carefully, waited for the right moment, and attacked. The explosion disoriented the crew. Before they could react, Leo had already taken control. He captured the vehicle, and inside, he found something even more valuable than the machine itself: maps, radio equipment, critical intelligence, information that would later help Allied forces plan their next moves. But for Leo, this wasn't a heroic act. It was just another decision, another moment where he trusted his instincts instead of his orders. War has a way of revealing who people really are. Some follow the system, some break under pressure, and some rewrite the rules entirely. Leo Major was one of those men. Then came the moment that should have ended his war. A grenade explosion, sudden, violent, unforgiving. The blast hit him directly. When the smoke cleared, Leo was still alive, but not unchanged. One of his eyes was gone, destroyed. For most soldiers, this would mean immediate evacuation. The end of combat, the end of their role in the war. Doctors told him exactly that. You're done. You're going home. But Leo refused. He refused evacuation. He refused the idea that he was finished. And he said something that would become part of his legend. I only need one eye to aim. It wasn't bravado. It wasn't arrogance. It was simply how he saw the world. Limitations didn't exist for him. And so, with one eye, Leo Major returned to the battlefield, not as a weakened soldier, but as someone even more determined. As the war continued, Leo became known for his unusual methods. He didn't wait for instructions. He didn't rely on large units. He moved quickly, alone, unpredictably. He would observe enemy positions, strike when they least expected it, disappear before they could respond. But more importantly, he understood something most soldiers didn't. War is not just physical, it is psychological. Fear can be more powerful than bullets. Confusion can be more dangerous than weapons. And perception can decide the outcome before a single shot is fired. Leo Major used this to his advantage. He didn't need to outgun the enemy. He needed to outthink them. And then came April 1945. The war in Europe was nearing its end. But one city in the Netherlands remained under German control: Zwolle. The situation was critical. German forces still occupied the city. Civilians were trapped. And the Allied plan was simple and brutal. Bombard the city at dawn. Heavy artillery, explosions, destruction. It would force the Germans to retreat. But at a cost. The city would be devastated, and many innocent lives would be lost. Leo Major saw another option, a different path, one that didn't involve destruction. He volunteered for a reconnaissance mission, to enter the city at night, to gather information, to prepare for the attack. He wasn't supposed to engage the enemy. He wasn't supposed to fight. Just observe and return. But Leo Major had never been the kind of soldier who followed limits. Under the cover of darkness, Leo and another soldier entered Zwolle. The streets were quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that hides danger. They moved carefully, listening, watching, waiting. But war rarely goes as planned. At some point during the mission, his partner was killed. Leo Major was now alone, deep inside enemy territory, at night. Most soldiers would retreat immediately, return to safety, report what they had seen. But Leo didn't. He made a decision that would change everything. He decided to continue, not just to observe, but to act. Leo Major looked at the situation and saw an opportunity. The Germans didn't know how many Allied soldiers were nearby. They didn't know what was coming. So he decided to make them believe something that wasn't true, that the city was already surrounded. He began moving through the streets, quick, silent, calculated. Then he started creating chaos. He threw grenades in different locations, fired his weapon from multiple positions, moved constantly, never staying in one place. To the Germans, it sounded like an entire force had entered the city. Multiple soldiers, multiple directions, an organized attack. But it was just one man. Leo Major understood fear. He understood confusion, and he used both as weapons. He captured German soldiers, didn't kill them. Instead, he gave them a message. The Canadians are here. They're everywhere. You need to leave. And then he released them. Those soldiers returned to their units, spreading the message, spreading the fear. And slowly, the perception began to change. The Germans believed they were surrounded. They believed a large attack was already underway. They didn't realize. It was just one man, moving through the darkness. All night long, Leo Major continued, attacking, disappearing, reappearing somewhere else, never predictable, never stationary, always one step ahead. The Germans began to panic. They couldn't locate the threat. They couldn't understand what was happening. And in war, confusion leads to fear, and fear leads to mistakes. Eventually, they made a decision. They retreated, not because they were defeated in battle, but because they believed they already were. When morning came, Allied forces entered Zwolle, expecting resistance, expecting combat, expecting destruction. But instead, they found silence. The city was empty. The Germans were gone, and Leo Major was still there, alive. He had done what an entire army was preparing to do. Without artillery, without backup, without permission, he had liberated a city, alone. The civilians were safe. The buildings were intact. The destruction never came. All because one man chose a different path. Leo Major was offered a medal for his actions, a high honor, recognition for what he had done. But he refused it, not because he didn't deserve it, but because he disagreed with the leadership. He didn't fight for medals. He didn't fight for recognition. He fought because it was the right thing to do. After World War II, Leo Major returned home. But his story didn't end there. When the Korean War began, he enlisted again. And once again, he proved that he was not like other soldiers. During a mission in Korea, Leo Major led a small group of soldiers against a much larger enemy force. Outnumbered, outgunned. But he used the same principles: movement, surprise, psychological pressure. And once again, he succeeded. He captured a strategic position, holding it against repeated attacks. For this, he was awarded a medal. This time, he accepted it. Leo Major lived the rest of his life away from the spotlight. No fame, no media attention. Just a man who had done something extraordinary and moved on. Today, his story remains one of the most incredible examples of individual impact in modern warfare. Not because of how many enemies he defeated, but because of how he thought, how he acted, how he changed the outcome of an entire situation alone. What makes a hero? Is it strength? Is it courage? Or is it the ability to see a different path when everyone else follows the same one? Leo Major didn't follow the rules. He didn't wait for orders. He didn't fight like everyone else. He fought his way. And in doing so, he proved something extraordinary. That sometimes, one man is enough. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, because history is full of stories like this, stories that sound impossible, but are completely real.